Hi. Welcome to the History House. I'm Amr Saeed and you are watching the History of the 21st of October on your favorite The History House YouTube channel. Please like this video and subscribe the channel for the importance of the day, success stories as well as the failure stories around the world on daily basis. October 21st is the 294th day of the year, 295th in leap years in the Gregorian calendar. 71 days remain until the end of the year. Apple Day is an annual celebration of apples and orchards, held in October. It is celebrated mainly in the United Kingdom. It traditionally falls on the 21st of October, the date of the first such event in 1990, but events are held throughout the month. It is commonly a weekend event, usually taking place on the Saturday and Sunday closest to the 30th of October. Armed Forces Day in Honduras is observed on 21st of October. Public holidays in Honduras are centered on Christianity and the commemoration of events in Honduran history. Each celebration is very important to many families across this country. They are often celebrated with extended family members and friends. Public holidays are celebrated by the entire population of Egypt on 21st of October every year. Holidays in Egypt have many classifications. Some holidays are religious and others are secular, while some can be fixed holidays on the calendar while others are movable. There are 4 Islamic holidays and 2 Christian holidays. The National Day of Egypt is celebrated on July 23, which coincides with the annual celebration of the Egyptian Revolution of 1952 when the modern Republic of Egypt was declared, ending the period of the Kingdom of Egypt. The Central Reserve Police Force (CRPF) is India's largest central armed police force. It functions under the authority of the Ministry of Home Affairs (MHA) of the Government of India. The CRPF's primary role lies in assisting the state, union territories in police operations to maintain law and order and counter-insurgency. It came into existence as the Crown Representatives Police on the 27th of July 1939. After Indian independence, it became the Central Reserve Police Force on enactment of the CRPF Act on the 28th of December 1949. This day, 21st of October, is celebrated as a Indian Police Commemoration Day. National Nurses Day is observed in Thailand on 21st of October. Public holidays in Thailand are regulated by the government, and most are observed by both the public and private sectors. Ndadaye Day is a public holiday in Burundi celebrated on October 21st. It remembers the assassination of Melchior Ndadaye. Trafalgar Day is the celebration of the victory won by the Royal Navy, commanded by Vice Admiral Horatio Nelson, over the combined French and Spanish fleets at the Battle of Trafalgar on the 21st of October 1805. 1096 A Seljuk Turkish army successfully fight off the People's Crusade. 1097 Crusaders led by Godfrey of Bouillon, Bohemond of Taranto, and Raymond IV, Count of Toulouse, begin the siege of Antioch. 1209 Otto IV is crowned Emperor of the Holy Roman Empire by Pope Innocent III. 1392 Japanese Emperor Go Kamiyama abdicates in favor of rival claimant Go Komatsu. 1512 Martin Luther joins the theological faculty of the University of Wittenberg. 1520 Ferdinand Magellan discovers a strait now known as the Strait of Magellan. 1520 João Álvares Fagundes discovers the islands of San Pierre and Miquelon, bestowing them their original name of Islands of the 11,000 Virgins. 1600 Tokugawa Ieyasu defeats the leaders of rival Japanese clans in the Battle of Sekigahara and becomes Shogun of Japan. 1774 The flag of Taunton, Massachusetts is the first to include the word liberty. 1797 In Boston Harbor, the 44-gun United States Navy frigate USS Constitution is launched. 1805 Napoleonic Wars, a British fleet led by Lord Nelson defeats a combined French and Spanish fleet under Admiral Villeneuve in the Battle of Trafalgar. 1824 Portland cement is patented. Portland cement is the most common type of cement in general use around the world as a basic ingredient of concrete, mortar, stucco, and non-specialty grout. It was developed from other types of hydraulic lime in England in the early 19th century by Joseph Aspdin, and usually originates from limestone. 1854 Florence Nightingale and a staff of 38 nurses are sent to the Crimean War. 1861 American Civil War, Union forces under Colonel Edward Baker are defeated by Confederate troops in the second major battle of the war. 1867 The Medicine Lodge Treaty is signed by Southern Great Plains Indian leaders. The treaty requires Native American Plains tribes to relocate to a reservation in western Oklahoma. 1879 Thomas Edison applies for a patent for his design for an incandescent light bulb. 1888 Foundation of the Swiss Social Democratic Party. The Social Democratic Party of Switzerland, German, Sozialdemokratische Partei der Schweiz, SP, Romansch, Parti de Sozialdemokraten de la Suisse, also rendered as the Swiss Socialist Party, French, Parti Socialiste Suisse, PS, Italian, Partito Socialista Svizzero, is a political party in Switzerland. The SP has had 2 representatives on the Swiss Federal Council since 1960 and received the second highest total number of votes in the 2019 Swiss federal election. 1892 Opening ceremonies for the World's Columbian Exposition are held in Chicago, though because construction was behind schedule, the exposition did not open until May 1, 1893. 1895 The Republic of Formosa collapses as Japanese forces invade. 1907 The 1907 Karatog earthquake hits the borders of Uzbekistan and Tajikistan, killing between 12,000 and 15,000 people. 1910 HMS Niobe arrives in Halifax Harbour to become the first ship of the Royal Canadian Navy. 1921 President Warren G. Harding delivers the first speech by a sitting U.S. president against lynching in the Deep South. 1931 A secret society in the Imperial Japanese Army launches an abortive coup d'état attempt. 1940 The first edition of the Ernest Hemingway novel For Whom the Bell Tolls is published. 1943 World War II The provisional government of Free India is formally established in Japanese-occupied Singapore. 1944 World War II The first kamikaze attack damages HMAS Australia as the Battle of Lake Gulf begins. 1944 World War II The Nemmersdorf massacre against the German civilians takes place. 1944 World War II The city of Aachen falls to American forces after 3 weeks of fighting, making it the first German city to fall to the Allies. 1945 French women vote for the first time during the 1945 French legislative election. 1950 Korean War Heavy fighting begins between British and Australian forces against the North Koreans during the Battle of Yongju. 1956 The Mau Mau uprising in Kenya is defeated. The Mau Mau Uprising 1952–1960, also known as the Mau Mau Rebellion, the Kenya Emergency, and the Mau Mau Revolt, was a war in the British Kenya colony 1920–1963 between the Kenya Land and Freedom Army KLFA, also known as Mau Mau, and the British authorities. 1959 In New York City, the Solomon R. Guggenheim Museum opens to the public. 1959 President Eisenhower approves the transfer of all U.S. Army space-related activities to NASA, including most of the Army Ballistic Missile Agency. 1965 Comet Akeyaseki approaches perihelion, passing 450,000 kilometers (279,617 miles) from the Sun. 1966 A colliery spoil tip collapses on the village of Aberfan in Wales, killing 144 people, mostly schoolchildren. 1967 The National Mobilization Committee to End the War in Vietnam organizes a march of 50,000 people from the Lincoln Memorial to the Pentagon. 1969 The 1969 Somali coup d'état establishes a Marxist-Leninist administration. 1971 A gas explosion kills 22 people at a shopping centre near Glasgow, Scotland. 1973 Fred Dreyer of the Los Angeles Rams becomes the first player in NFL history to score 2 safeties in the same game. 1978 Australian civilian pilot Frederick Valentich vanishes over the Bass Strait south of Melbourne, after reporting contact with an unidentified aircraft. 1979 Moshe Dayan resigns from the Israeli government because of strong disagreements with Prime Minister Menahem Begin over policy towards the Arabs. 1981 Andreas Papandreou becomes Prime Minister of Greece, ending an almost 50-year-long system of power dominated by conservative forces. 1983 The meter is defined as the distance light travels in a vacuum in 1,299,792,458th of a second. 1986 In Lebanon, pro-Iran kidnappers claim to have abducted American writer Edward Tracy. He is released in August 1991. 1987 The Jaffna Hospital massacre is carried out by Indian peacekeeping force in Sri Lanka, killing 70 ethnic Tamil patients, doctors and nurses. 1994 North Korea and the United States sign an agreed framework that requires North Korea to stop its nuclear weapons program and agree to inspections. 1994 In Seoul, South Korea, 32 people are killed when a span of the Songsu Bridge collapses. 2005 Images of the dwarf planet Eris are taken and subsequently used in documenting its discovery. 2019 30 people are killed in a fiery bus crash in Western Democratic Republic of the Congo. 2019 In Canada, the 2019 Canadian federal election ends, resulting in incumbent Prime Minister Justin Trudeau remaining in office, albeit in a minority government. Births on this day, the 21st of October. 1986 Natalee Holloway, American missing person. 1980 Kim Kardashian, American model, actress. 1956 Carrie Fisher, American actress, screenwriter, author. 1949 Benjamin Netanyahu, Israeli politician, 9th Prime Minister of Israel. 1772 Samuel Taylor Coleridge, English poet, philosopher. Deaths on this day, the 21st of October. 2014 Gough Whitlam, Australian politician, 21st Prime Minister of Australia. 2012 George McGovern, American politician, historian, author. 2003 Elliott Smith, American singer-songwriter, guitarist. 1969 Jack Kerouac, American author, poet. 1805 Horatio Nelson, 1st Viscount Nelson, English Admiral. Thanks a lot for watching the History House YouTube channel. Please like this video and subscribe the channel for latest stories on daily basis.